Hi, everybody. Welcome to MMM, Make the Most of Marriage. Hope you're all doing well. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. Nice to see you all. Yes, last time we were here, I was the speaker and Francesca was the MC. So tonight I will be MCing the event and looking forward to that. We have a lovely couple coming on tonight, this evening, Andrew and Uyanga Love. With incredible testimony about their experience with postpartum depression, which I'll go into later on. But yeah, if more people could put their cameras on, it'd be lovely. But if not, it's all right as well. But it's lovely to have you all here. So great. So before we start, we always like to go into a few different practical things. We have some Russian translation this evening. Bayarma Efremova is here with us, and she'll be doing simultaneous Russian translation. So if you need a translation, you can see on the screen now how you change that and put that on. And also, we also always like to mention that it's great if people can put their full name, so we can put you into groups. Yeah, here's this next slide on that. And that will just help us to put you into relevant groups based on your registration for the event. As we always like to do that as well. Yeah, so we'll see. I think there's a few more people coming into the event. But I think we'll just go straight into a prayer. So I'm gonna give the word over to Patrizia for our prayer for this
Thank you
evening.
so much. Yes, let's pray together tonight. Join me in prayer. Good evening, our precious Emily parents and true parents of heaven and earth and humankind. Good evening, brothers and sisters from all over the world. We are here together and we are always very inspired to go through a new MMM project every month. And we really want to offer this special time to you to make it holy, to make it precious for many couples to join and for us as well to join in and to listen in depth of many different situations that happens to couples in our community, and that they can we can in this way help each other more and more and stand as brothers and sisters hand in hand and being faithful to you and faithful to each other. This evening we have a very deep testimony, so we really are so anxious and so happy to welcome this young couple that went through so much. And we want to offer to you this time, and actually we want to invite you as the best guest of our evening. And please be with us and bless this special program. We want to say that we all love you, and we want to make a special place where you can dwell with your children. I want to pray all these things in my name as a blessed central couple and in the name of all brothers and sisters here. Aju.
Aju. Thank you so much. Great. So we have a few more people that have come in. So again, welcome everybody to MMM. And there's always some new people, so we always have to also just introduce MMM, Make the Most of Marriage. It's now been running for over 2 years, and we've had, I don't know how many events now, maybe 20, is it, Francesca? I think something 21. Woo. So that's good. It's a good number, 21. And we will, we have some other plans for the year, and yeah, we look forward to having more speakers this year and continue to growing the initiative. So for the people that don't know, it's an FFWPU initiative based, from the Blessed Family Department in Europe, and it was created with the vision of creating a community of fulfilled blessed couples by this kind of flagship online event. Like I said, we have other plans for this year, and we do plan to use this as a foundation to help more couples, and we also use it as a medium to reach out to couples that might be struggling, or just help newly blessed couples even. So it is an event for everybody, for any and every blessed couple, and we continue to invest and to try to create the most interesting and meaningful, impactful kind of messages and testimonies and for anything that we could do to help you guys and us. We're all, even everybody in the team is also a blessed couple. So actually, talking about that, let me introduce everybody. That's a nice. So this is the MMM team. So from left to right, we got Abby and Victor, and both who are helping with the technical, as well as Abby helps a lot with the communications with new speakers and things like that. We have Andy and Francesca who are like they keep track of the most things, the most organized, forward thinking. Andy's doing a lot of the design work, and Francesca is making sure we're they both take care of a lot of things for the team and holding us all together and making sure we're looking ahead and planning ahead. So that's a great power couple that both on the committee. Then we have myself. This is my family here, but I'm on the committee. And Patrizia with some support from Frank. Frank comes in as an honorary member and is supporting behind the scenes. And she's like the mother of the team. She gives that kind of depth and also she's been around much longer than the rest of us. So that, and then Orlande is also, she's kind of the honorary. She kind of kickstarted it. She put us all together and obviously comes in and gives them some guidance sometimes. So that's the team. Great. So I think that's it. Yeah, actually, let me go through just a quick format as well of the evening for the people that haven't been here before. So we will shortly go into introducing tonight's speakers. They'll speak for about 20 to 30 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. And then after that, we'll have a short break, and then we'll go straight into discussion groups. And discussion groups are going to be relevant, we organize into relevant groups based on sort of your life circumstance. And that's about 25 minutes as well in the discussion groups. Then we meet back. We might have some reflection or some Q&A with the speakers. And then if the speakers want to say something towards the end or reach out to you in terms of how you can get in contact with after that, that's what's going to happen towards the end of the evening. And then also there is a chance to then also go back into your discussion groups, which some people do every time. And for the people that not everybody has time for that, but if you do, there's always a chance to go back into your discussion group as well at the very end. Great. So I hope that's helpful to some of you. So now let's get into it. So this evening we've Andrew and Younger Love have come to speak for us. They live currently in America. Andrew is from America and Younger is from Mongolia. They've been blessed since 2012, and they have 3 boys. And I know they've lived all over the place, traveled a lot, and 4 different states. And also I know both have been very active in their own local community, as well as with High Noon and other things in our church community. I'm sure you might have seen at least Andrew around. Andrew Younger is also here with us this evening. So they're celebrating 10 years anniversary, and obviously have a very interesting topic that's relevant to a lot of us. Some of us might have been through it. It's about postpartum depression. Some people might be going through it right now. Also, for people that maybe have older children, you might have children that are having children, and this is a really great thing to be aware of. And also, in order to provide guidance and support to them as they're going through that, and just generally having a newborn or baby is very, very tough. And I think that topic itself, it doesn't necessarily have to go all the way to depression, but I think tonight's talk can also help anybody who's going through that time of starting a family or having young ones. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to give the word over to Andrew and Ayanga. Let's give them a big wave and a welcome to MMM. Over to you guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. You guys good?
Yeah, we're great. Thank you.
Fantastic.
And just to clarify, I was born in Canada. So if you feel like I have a few extra words in my vocabulary, that's why. I'm not fully American.
Really sorry about that, Andrew.
Now we was American.
We just became American a month ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
Yeah. So hello, everybody. before we started, I just wanted to kind of clarify that we're definitely not trying to offer medical advice. We went about our situation in a way that was very congruent with who we are, and it was very complementary to our worldview of like health and, you know, mental health and all this stuff. So we had to figure it out together, but it's by no means a prescription for what other people should do. It just really did work for us. So just disclaimer that this is our story, and we're not trying to say that it needs to be anybody else's story. But why this issue is relevant is because we spoke about it openly in our community here. We're actually in Denver, Colorado. And there's a decent sized community here. And after we spoke, that talk went online, and then a lot of people started contacting us. And the more actually that Uyanga shares her story, the more we realize that so many people have been through this, and either they didn't have somebody to share their story with, or they didn't even know that they had gone through something similar. Only in hearing her story did they be like, oh my goodness, I had the exact same situation or something very similar. So in that, this story has kind of helped a lot of people to identify that having children comes with a lot of complications that we don't always know how to deal with. So that's why I wanted to tell this story, you know, in particular. Okay. But I'm also a blabbermouth, and she's very humble. So I really want to make sure that I don't speak the whole time. So please, if I do, just say shut up, and then I'll pass. You can just type in shut up, or please be quiet, since you're more polite in Europe, I think, than in America. So yes, we just got blessed, right? 10 years ago we just had our anniversary in March. We attended the last blessing of True Father's life. He passed in the spirit world a few months later, right? So that was March, and then he passed later in late August, September, right? So that was his last blessing that he attended. And we had our first kid very quickly because we were very excited about loving each other as what happens. And that went perfectly well, right? No hitches, a perfect birth, perfect pregnancy. She did amazingly well. And I was a nervous wreck the entire time. Yeah. Just pacing the room, crying a little bit, not knowing how to help her. But she was strong, and I was definitely, I learned what strength looks like. And then our second child came
2016.
2016. So that was like 2.5 years after our first son.
Yeah, now basically we have like 9, 6, 3 years old sons. And then that postpartum depression is basically come with the second son after born. And then pregnancy birth was great. And then after, basically you need to give birth and then take care of yourself and then rest well, like that. But then especially we are two different countries, come to America, another country, and then no family. My family and his family is their own country, far away. That's why we don't have like biological relatives in here called to my sister or something like that.
Yeah.
And then second thing is we move a lot because of his mission. That's why we couldn't make close friends. And then that makes us a little bit alone, especially me go through the raising the children, taking care of myself like that. And then he is always busy with the church, even including Sunday, Saturday, he will work. And then in meetings in the late evening come or early morning go or something like that. And then that's after give birth.
Can we stop and then?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was a pastor in New York. Then I retired, never going to be a pastor again. And then a few years later, I'm a pastor again in Maryland. And that's where she got pregnant, and then we had our second child. And I was busy, and the pregnancy, like she said, was perfect. The delivery was perfect. She had natural births. All three were natural births. because in Mongolia, that's where she's from. It was normal. So it's not like a big deal. But I just wanted to kind of clarify what you were saying, was that we didn't really have any family to take care of her in the way that she needed to be taken care of. So my mom actually did come out for a bit and try to take care of you, but she was trying to make, like, Canadian American food. Whereas what do you?
Culture is so different.
Yeah.
She's like, the Western world. I'm the way Eastern world. It's like totally different, especially like medical, taking care of yourself. Like ours is like more natural, like way of taking care of. Like after give birth, stay warm. Like, even the hot summer, I grew up like, women's after give birth, winter hat, they will wear it, and then not get the cold air in. And then in here is like, just go out after give birth, go out walk. And then we was walking in the mountain in here, like after 7 days. And
Can we just say that was a key issue that played out later to the negative, was that she didn't follow the traditions and her instincts of how she felt she should recuperate and recover after birth. She kind of went along with the fact that we were in America and the fact that my mom was there, who was Canadian, and following the kind of more Western way. And there's some very specific things, like don't have a shower for a while, right? Eat a lot of seaweed. And there's certain things. So, a lot of soup. And she wasn't doing this. So she was already kind of in an unnatural state, but she was just doing it because there was no real support at that time to help her. I think in the East, there's a lot more families who stick together. So after you give birth, there's like a tribe of ladies, elders, who take care of you. And she didn't have that. So that was just like the beginning of how things got a little bit uncomfortable for her.
Yeah, and then the second son was 6 months. And then after, basically, I was, medically, basically, I had that depression, postpartum depression, or like deep fatigue. Yeah. And then I didn't know about anything. I just basically fine. And then, but inside, like my physical body, spiritual, is physically, emotionally, spiritually, basically, like kind of everything is affected and kind of sick, right?
So if you can imagine, I'm sure every single mother on this call remembers that you don't get much sleep, a lot of breastfeeding. She's breastfeeding, not sleep, not eating the foods that she really wanted. I was trying to make them, but everything I made was not up to her standards, because she had very specific desires at that time, and I was trying, but it wasn't good enough. So she wasn't really eating a lot. So she was in kind of a deficit. Her body and her mind and everything was kind of in a state of giving, but there's nothing being received really, like in any deep way to kind of replenish all of the nutrients and spiritual nutrients that she was giving. So she started to get you were like really tired. This fatigue showed up for us in that she stopped being able to really do things, right? Like I was kind of a full-time pastor, but I would also come home and prepare all the meals, and she just stopped being able to kind of function.
Yeah, I guess. And my feeling was, one day I was asking from him, like, like phone battery finished, like last red light, like flashing, and then like battery, phone died. And phone died, no battery. That's what I'm feeling in my physical body. I feel like I'm dying. And then can I go to the spa, like Korean, that spa, like, with the sauna, taking shower like that. And that's in Maryland, they have it. And I go asking I want to go up to there, like I need the time, and begging him, and then I left.
So this was crazy because there's always a spiritual dimension, and I think everybody has their own sense of what spirit world is and your interaction and all that. We try to just help people and use our understanding of God and parents to just like help the world be a better place, but not always so like out there kind of spiritual, But like that day, she was in a really bad state and she's like, I need to go to a spa. And I was like, I had one day off a week, and then all of a sudden I didn't have a day off. And I was like, all right, you can go. But I had this like really bad feeling. I was so angry at her, but it didn't feel like me. It really felt like something else like was inside of me and like judging her. But I was just like, yes, of course. But like something in me was like, I felt like I wasn't gonna see her again. And then she went to the spa that day, and then she didn't come back for a long time. And then I got this call from her phone with this little teeny tiny voice saying, she starts sentences with "and," which is interesting. She's like, "And so I'm in the hospital." And I'm like, what? And she had passed out in the spa due to fatigue, but also there's some spiritual stuff that, it's just like she got taken over by something. And then right when the ambulance guy came, there's a paramedic that was trying to take care of her, and she could see like he was like really dark, like she started to become very spiritually open, and it was kind of concerning. But yeah, she had like basically a meltdown. And she had the car. I don't know how you got home. Like it was a big mess. It was really a big mess because I kind of started to lose her at that point. From my perspective as a man, like I was trying to take care of my wife as best I could, and everything I did didn't seem to be helping her. And she was like, I'm suffering. And I'm like, okay, how can I help you? I want to help you. And there's nothing she didn't have the words, to express what she was going through. So she was really struggling, and I was struggling like crazy because the person I loved was struggling and I couldn't seem to do anything to help her. And then it was getting only worse. The harder I tried and the harder she fought, it only seemed to be getting worse. And so that was really like a dividing line that day, where she just disappeared. And then kind of your body came back that day, but you weren't really the same for a while. She had kind of like stretched herself so thin that things started to break apart starting that day, right? So you came back and then you recovered, right, for a while, but that you still weren't eating, right?
Yeah. And then basically I was asking for help, and then yeah, of course, church elder members like in a mother position, my mom's age, elder first generation sisters came, and then they tried to talk or like help, but I guess I talking more like spiritual things like that. And then they will say to not telling to me, they will say to Andrew like she's talking like spiritually things like that. And then when I heard like that, I'm normal, I'm okay, like pushing everything back.
Can we
like that.
describe that a bit? Because I think this is important as a community, that we had a bunch of really amazing elders, and I was reaching out to them, especially the sisters. I said, I don't know what's happening. Can you please help? I feel like I'm stuck. And so these elders, my aunt figures, they would come over sometimes one at a time and sometimes in groups, and they would see my wife. And my wife was at that time becoming progressively more kind of spiritually open in a alarming way, like hearing voices and stuff like this, and like, oh my God, like, and they in many ways wanted quick answers, and kind of saying, oh, she's going crazy, have you thought about putting her on drugs, have you thought about this or that? And it was not helpful. It was not helpful because it kind of, I felt like I was starting to side with them in a way more than my wife. And then it almost became like she really felt like there's nobody there that really just was there to listen to her, right? Do you want to express what you just needed? Remember, it was like a mother figure, right?
Yeah, just mother, like just the mom, like hugging me, don't worry anything, just lay down and sleep or something like that. And then like making my nice soup, just don't worry, like nice gentle touch like this, like that. Instead of that one, like, like what's going on, and then like a lot of things talk, and then make decided, like it's like different things talking like that. And then like I don't want to, and then more that time I will more close my heart, because I'm not like crazy person, I'm normal, I'm okay like this, and I'm push it away like that.
So yeah, I think we all have a tendency to prescribe solutions for people sometimes, right? And she's getting a lot of that.
And then that's come out is I was like we driving in the car, and then I was like, can I tell you something? And then I need you, like he was like a busy like meeting like that. Can I buy your time 1 hour? How much? I was like crying like crazy. Can you with me? Like, and then like it's like panic attack, like start to my like hand is like what is that? Like,
sometimes when people have panic attacks, they start to like get really
tighten. And then like I'm going back again hospital, please, like just with me, stay with me. I was like cry like that. And then I think that's touch your heart.
So that was a defining moment and something that saved our marriage and saved both of our lives, I think, where we were just going for a drive for the first time. My dad was visiting and he took care of the kids so we could have like a second just to ourselves. And when we were driving, she pulled me over and she got so intense. And every so often we get, I don't know if you've ever felt it, but like when she's speaking, my heart sank and I felt like this is the most serious conversation I've ever had. Like it felt like life or death, kind of like that level of intensity. And she was telling me that like, yeah, do I have to pay for you to pay attention to me? But from my perspective, I was like, are you kidding me? I'm raising both of our kids right now, a newborn, by myself, because she couldn't function. I was also a pastor. I was also trying to cook food. And I was like, everything inside of me, like my logical mind and all this was building this very strong case as to why I'm right and how everybody I've introduced into our situation sides with me. I saw this desperation in her eyes. And I said, what do I need to do? I stopped myself. I stopped my mouth from trying to justify myself. And I just tried to hear her, really hear her. And you've said it to me, like that moment you felt like you would have died if I didn't, right? And I somehow was able to feel it. She caught me in a moment where we don't know what would have happened. We don't know, right? The consequences, but she had this sense that things would have gotten really, really, really bad for her. Like just this feeling like you're completely alone. She would have felt like there's nobody on this earth that really understood her. And up until that point, I didn't really have the bandwidth to really hear her. But for some reason, I could hear her in that moment. And then that kind of changed everything, because then we realized that we have to change everything to a very uncomfortable degree. So a few months later, like I had quit my job and we basically gave up all of our stuff. We had a bunch of young moms come to our house and ransack our house. We said, whatever you want, take it. There were moms walking out with our TVs and that, because like we were gonna put stuff in our car, whatever we could fit in our car, we were gonna keep. Everything else we were just gonna give away, because the priority was her health. So at that point, we just started traveling.
Like we had this small car with all basically just our clothes with a lot of things, and then sit down, and then we go out, live in Maryland. And then our baby came 2018 September, third baby. And then until that time, after even the third baby born, and until that time, I even don't know what's wrong with me. Like I had the postpartum depression. I need to really relax, really taking care of myself, or receive mother's love, or something like that. And I didn't have, until that time, I didn't figure out I'm sick. I didn't agree with it. People try to like, oh, like she's okay, or like she doesn't take care of the children, even like mother-in-law. And then wherever we even traveling, I just leave the children. I just laying down in bed or something.
She was not a good mother for a while. She just didn't have the bandwidth.
Because I don't have no power for that things. And then at the same time, I don't know what's wrong with me like that. And then
well, can we just say that because it was really divided. Some people were taking just the kind of clinical, just put her in a hospital, give her drugs, this kind of thing, and other people were like totally spiritual, just send her to Korea, go to Champyeong, just liberate. She's clearly possessed. Everybody had a very strong opinion, but nothing quite resonated with us, and we didn't want to do any. Those things come with very strong repercussions, right? You start having prescriptions. My mom is, she's on antidepressants and has been for many years, and is probably going to do that for her whole life. So I knew that it was kind of like this lifelong thing. And so we were trying to figure this out through a lot of conversations, but we didn't know what the problem was. That's the thing. We didn't really understand what it was, because the symptoms were, she would listen to a podcast and be like, oh, this guy told me to do this. We need to go to Bali. And I was like, he told you this? And then I would later find out she was just listening to a podcast, but she's just like really like her feet weren't on the ground. And I think we all have a different kind of, all of us, depending on our wiring and our worldviews, have a different sense of like what that actually means, right? So, but the traveling started to alleviate some of the burden, because we could then go to different communities, get help from different people, also go into more relaxing environments. We lived in Airbnbs for like 2.5 years or something.
Okay, and then before that one, I find out like what's wrong with me finally. After third baby born, and then I was like almost like dying, like in my back is so painful, and then I can't breathe, like the breathing is so difficult. And then like the brain can't take a rest,
can't focus
can't focus, and can't do things normal, like that washing dishes, so difficult for me. And then one time I was in Facebook and the Mongolian community. Okay, like one traditional doctor come to Denver. This symptom, if you have, you can see this doctor like that. And then I was just, all symptom was in me, and I just right away called to her and make appointment, go to see her. And then she was just touching my pulse, and then like, oh, you have like, I don't know, still I don't know, in your belly have a lot of air. That's like in Ayurveda, 3 different kind of person. I'm there like, I'm there like in air, like a lot of air in. That's basically cause of deep fatigue. And then especially newborn, the pregnant, give birth ladies have this kind of sickness. You have that things, and then you will be like all traditional herb medicine and massage and acupuncture. Those things will help you, and then you need to really relax. Meditation will help you. That's what I first time. Oh, I sick, and I need to cure. I need to relax. That's what I professionally find out. Like, which is from the second baby until third baby. Third pregnancy, a little bit also hard, like that.
We had another baby even after that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and then like traveling, it's a lot of things is happening.
And so there's a lot of ups and downs between baby number 2 and baby number 3. Another boy, by the way. And they were all spaced out about 2.5 years apart. And a lot of, she'd be doing great for a couple months, and then she'd just go down into some weird funk where she couldn't really function, and like I had to do everything kind of thing. And it felt for me, from my perspective, like I was so scared, because like I don't know if you've ever seen something really intense, like a car crash or something like that. Similar feeling where it just was too intense for me to process or understand. But then she'd come back up, but there's no rhyme or reason. But one thing that happened also is that I traveled Europe, and maybe I saw some of you with High Noon. We were speaking with High Noon, and at that time, the proposition was I'd be away from my family for 2 months, and we just had our third kid. And so I asked my wife, if you could be anywhere in the world, where would you want to be? And she said Mongolia. And so she went back to Mongolia and met with a lady who dealt specifically with postpartum, like this extra air thing. I think it's a really foreign concept for Western people, but it's this lady just does this kind of healing for women who've had a baby and then they didn't take care of themselves and too much air got inside their system and it wreaks havoc. And
then that makes difficult to breathe, and then eventually that air go into heart, like something like that. And then
and you're saying that there's like people that die like that.
Oh yeah, that she was like massaging me, and then she was telling a lot of women do like that, and then they go to the Western the hospital, basically go to hospital, check blood, whatever, all those things. You are healthy, but and then that woman suffers, and then around them suffers. And then one lady was in a country, in village, after give birth, and she was like so difficult inside like that. And then one night in the winter time, she just go run and never come back and died in the cold winter night. She died there like that.
What would happen a lot is she would just be like, my wife would just be like, I can't breathe. It's like this feeling like so uncomfortable in your own body. And again, nothing I could do, just nothing, and it was this recurring thing. And so after you saw that lady, it got a bit better, right?
Yeah, and then she gave me the massage, and then it was really healing, give me the herb, things like that.
So just starting to like heal the body, like it's kind of backwards. After you have a baby, you sacrifice your body as I hear. I've never experienced that, but what I've seen, like the body goes through so much, and the mind exhaustion from giving. Every aspect of you is just being sacrificed, but unless you heal those things one at a time, they're always in a deficit. And so that healing was helpful, but again, still not fully stable. And we do have to kind of wrap up a little bit. So the thing that I think that really has helped so much is that we wanted to take our kids to Malaysia to put them in a private school to test it out, because we wanted to start a school here in Denver, which we actually have done. But it's like a franchise, and there's one in Malaysia, so we were there. But then for whatever visa reasons, she was Mongolian.
Corona.
Well, we ended up in Bali, but then we were trapped in Bali for a year because of coronavirus. We're happy. It was amazing, obviously. But in that year,
was really healing me.
Yeah, she could just actually rest, because out there we could have hired help to help with the kids, help with the cleaning. I could still work, and she could get a bunch of massages. She could eat a lot of fruit, but essentially, for the first time in her life, she could just breathe and relax her mind, really relax her body, detach herself from being a mom and just be a woman. And
very close to nature, and a lot of like me time, like really relax. That was the healing year. And I really, and then now strongly coming back into me, and I'm really grateful for that. And I was really grateful for my husband, because if like I was thinking like, if like, what is it, like I married to Mongolian man, whatever, like no blessing, those will be like just left, like doesn't understand, are you crazy, like that was like really saving my life, go through that things. And thank you. And then also, and I, for example, like it's everywhere I believe, that who give birth. In here in our community, one couple, second generation couple, and then they have 2 children, and then wife is exactly similar situation. I never seen her, even be living here now 3-4 years in this community. I never seen her, because I believe after the second baby born, she become like mentally, spiritually, like drift away, right? And then never come to the church. And then basically now husband and wife separate living, and she will just talk a lot, can't function. That's what I'm like.
She never really recovered, so she's in a situation where she's kind of suicidal. It's really intense. And yeah, we've seen it happen. And again, we've been hearing a lot more reports since she's been sharing the story more, that it's quite common. And again, we don't have a prescription. We're not saying that our story would work for people, because our life would probably be too stressful for a lot of traveling as much as we did. But it actually ended up, we had no plans on going to Bali at all. It was not on our agenda. I didn't even know that the country existed. I didn't know anything about Indonesia or Bali. But we ended up there, and I feel like God just needed to give her 1 year to just fully recuperate. And that really pushed her over to the edge of health. And she's not been up and down. She's really been steady for the past year and a half. And it's been amazing, because I have a full life back, and now she's, working for the first time in her life. She's like building a life, and it's so exciting to see. And it's like, I've heard from people, you don't know your spouse until you've been married for 20 years. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing. I know my wife. And it's like, we just hit our 10-year anniversary. I'm like, yeah, I'm just learning who you are.
Starting.
Just starting.
I agree with it.
And just also starting to learn what love is. Because like, we hear about sacrificial love, but it really felt like, I honestly felt for years like I was giving everything and it wasn't enough. And I just had to dig deeper. And that's kind of the side of the blessing that we don't always hear about. So that's our story. I know we had this time constraint, so we want to be careful to end. But yeah, we just the one takeaway that I was hoping that you could also get is, because we know that there's some people here who don't have kids, or you're maybe a grandparent age or whatever, but we also moved here to Denver because there's a really active community, and we realized how much we were suffering because of the isolation aspect, that we didn't have other people, our network, our parents are in other countries. And this is a thing that the present human body is going through, where we're very disjointed because everybody lives in separate places. You don't usually live where you were born in most cases. So community, like looking out for especially people in vulnerable situations, like young moms that are under a lot of stress, and just saying, taking their kid without any expectation of any reciprocity, just like, is one of the greatest gifts that you can do. And it would have helped us so much. So yeah, community is super, super important, I think, more than we understand.
Yeah, and then family, parents, husband, understanding you in each other, it's very important, I think. That's the saving each other's life.
That we're gonna shut up now.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I was gonna say, if we can we'll give a round of waves. Thank you for your talk and testimony. I mean, yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for sharing so deeply and inviting us into this story. Yeah, I've taken lots of notes myself, and even personally, I could relate to that. I mean, we've had 3 kids as well. We haven't had fully postpartum depression, but well, having kids can be very, very tough, and I think I think people go through a different scales of it, and obviously, I think I started saying that a lot of these things can also relate to just having kids generally. Can be very, very, you need to take time, like for example, you need to take time for yourself, or both husband and wife, or the importance of community, the importance of family, all these kind of things, I think, are really, really key things. So I usually ask a few questions. I mean, I wrote a few things down, and yeah, I think I was really interested about this thing that you guys said about. I mean, this moment that she reached out to you seems to be like the point in the relationship where things change. And actually, I just wanted to highlight that for a second as well. That I think sometimes in a relationship, that's really where we would need to reach in order to have a breakthrough. Sometimes, yeah. In this case, it was even more severe with the postpartum depression situation. But I think at some point in your relationship, at some point in marriage, you have to get to that point where you reach deeper, or if you're desperate, that you reach out to your spouse, and I think these are the points where breakthroughs can happen. I just want to highlight that to everybody, that if you're going through something right now, or if you're feeling something in your relationship, or something that like that moment, that reaching out to your spouse in that way, I think is one of the best things you could possibly do for your relationship. And it doesn't have to only be about postpartum depression. And I just wanted to say that that was so powerful for you guys to share that as well. That was really the moment. And I don't know. I don't know if
Well,
there's anything else you guys wanted to elaborate on that, but I just wanted to say that I just wanted to extract that from what you guys shared.
I think just like a lot of limitations of language. I think a lot of people would label this postpartum depression, but it wasn't so clear. It wasn't that she was just sad. It was that she couldn't function, you know, like it wasn't, it was so much beyond that. And then she was also spiritually open. There are all these other things that
Yeah.
if you start Googling, it's not gonna say postpartum depression, or it's like either, you know, some terms are like a catch-all. It's like, oh, you have these symptoms, okay, it's this.
Even mental sick, right?
Yeah,
mentally ill, something.
There's so many different things that I think it's easy to label things, but and that it helps you get in the right ballpark, but it was not a clear-cut case. And again, it was like we had to find what we believed about mental health, about physical health. We had to figure out many things so that we could figure out what the solution is based on our beliefs. Like we're kind of more of a natural solution kind of people, like if that's her background. So like taking herbs instead of drugs like helps her more kind of thing. But there's all a conversation, and sometimes labels help and sometimes they hurt, because if you have a label then you are this thing, right? Does that make sense? So
yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Term postpartum depression is helpful, and it's also not helpful because it's somewhat limiting, and she didn't necessarily fit into that, but it's the closest thing that we could describe is what happened.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also feel like, yeah, you had this breakthrough moment as well, but then, you know, you completely, I mean, Andrew, especially you just dropped there, like you're committed to the relationship. I have to point that out as well, that was incredible. And the fact that you guys, like you said, you have to find what's right for your couple, but that also came through that breakthrough, I feel like. And then, you know, sometimes as a couple, you just have to drop everything else. Like it doesn't, yeah, again, it could be other aspects in your life, but sometimes you need to really strip everything back and say what's actually important in life, you know. And I think, you know, for most people it's going to be your couple, your wife, your children, and maybe your extended family and things like that. And sometimes you just, everything else sometimes has to take a second, you know, we call it a second position to everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, I mean, if there was any, actually, I was just thinking about any tips for people that are about to have children. If you guys had anything, how do you think people should prepare, like in terms of your story, people going into it as well? Like maybe something yeah, I guess it's good to be aware of these kind of situations. But is there any tips do you guys want to give? And then we can go into.
Yeah, I was thinking, because mother is unconditional love, especially you have your own children, and then you will just day and night 24/7 you give, and then that's I want to say to like a young mom and woman, especially have children, at least once a month, like me day, me time, like, you know, stay away from your family and just like taking care of yourself once a month. Can you imagine just like 1 year, like 365 days, you just give every day, give, never take, receive, give it to you back yourself. And then you basically ended up the finish and, you know, like fatigue, like so deeply tired.
Yeah.
Like that. That's exhaustion. The husband support. Okay, the once a month, like this is my day, take care of that totally at the home, you just your time. Like that, that'd be like very nice, right?
That's fantastic. I think that's a great tip, and I would second that as well. And it's a good reminder for me. I'm gonna make some time for my wife. Some time even now, anytime, you know. But I think for sure, and also to say for both husband and wife need to take time, and take time for the couple as well. Away from your children is also very important. To just have couple time. You can't. Somebody else said that in MMM once. I really stuck with me that you're not really. Yeah, you need to be away from your kids to have the identity as a couple. If you're with your kids, you always then your identity is mother and father. It really stuck with me because I think it's really true. It's only you can be husband and wife or man and woman when you're when you're away from your kids. You need that special couple time as well. So
Yeah.
fantastic. Thanks, guys. Thanks again, guys. I think we're going to come back to you after the group discussion. So we're going to have we're just gonna have a short break if people need to grab a glass of water or a cup of tea, go to the toilet or something like that. So we're just gonna go into a short break and then we're gonna go into the group discussion. So again, thank you guys. Hi everybody, welcome back. I was yeah, bye to my group. I was just gonna say bye, and I said thank you in a few different languages. I tried my best to say. So it's lovely. We just had a nice discussion. I'm sure a lot of you, all of you had good discussions as well. I don't know, Andrew, Younger, did you guys go into a group? I think so.
We did. We met
Yes.
some really cool folks.
Fantastic. Did you have a nice discussion?
Yes.
We enjoyed it.
Yeah. Any quick sort of takeaway from the group?
Well, one thing is, about Uyanga's point about needing that unconditional maternal love was really the main thing that she needed more than anything when she was in the beginning stages. And then we kind of asked, did other people receive that, or were they able to give it or receive it? And it seemed like nobody had really received it before, at least from what I could gather. So it seems like a deep need that we have that we don't get enough of, that we're kind of starving for, which is just somebody being there for you to take care of you, just like when you're a little kid, but as an adult, that we don't get that enough, especially when we're really needy, because everybody's so big and it's hard to get somebody's time and emotion, their devotion, and how much that fills us up, and how much she needed that as a key component to healing herself, and didn't get it. And yet we all need it, and we're not. I think a lot of people are not getting nearly enough of it, if any at all. That was one kind of startling revelation.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that's incredible, and like, yeah, I can relate to we don't have time now, but I can relate it to so many stories, and obviously stories of breakthrough as well, when somebody reached out, or somebody even with outside the couple, that people reached out and helped or were there for them. Yeah, we all, and yeah, those were the things that like were the breakthroughs in those situations. Always somebody just giving, I don't know, dropping everything, going, helping out, and just being there for those people. Not always have to do so much, but just that you're there and just saying, I'm here for you 100%. What do you need? I'm here. Or and sometimes it is just sitting there, sometimes it's just a hug, something like that. And it's incredibly valuable, I think, but very rare at the same time, or hard, I think, as well. It doesn't always go, but I think that's the thing that people need. Yeah, in our group, actually, something that came out of it, I think, was that we were talking. It was me and it was four mothers and myself. We had a lovely discussion, and yeah, I mean, yeah, there was a few things that were shared, but I think something that came out of it, which I think a few people should continue thinking about after this meeting, is obviously the fact that a lot of, yeah, we have many small communities around Europe, and the same maybe in the States as well. Some of the communities are very small, and somebody was saying as well, there's not many, yeah, there might not be so many people going through that situation with, like not so many families, and they just don't, again, just like you guys didn't have really the support from other people, that there seems to be a need, maybe to, I mean, it could even just be like a WhatsApp group or like a Facebook Messenger group or something for, especially for mothers to be a part of. And I have seen examples of that already. People just starting groups, where mothers are supporting each other. But I think maybe, next level, we're probably going to continue talking about in our MMM team. But I think even if there's anybody here that's involved in this space, I would just, please have a think about it. And I think it could be good, to set up some groups like that. so women can support each other. And just being part of that group might encourage, just to have those people there to say it's normal what you're going through. Or somebody in our group was sharing that obviously they wish somebody would have told them about postpartum depression, or that it was normal to feel absolutely dreadful and terrible. And a couple of women in my group shared that obviously they had a little bit of postpartum depression, but maybe just a week or two. But even just that, obviously, and obviously maybe they just got some support, or somebody told them, somebody was there at the right time. But I think for a lot of people, obviously, as we've heard from your testimony as well, they didn't have that support, or you don't know what could escalate the situation. So I think just being part of a specific network where women can support each other, I think seems like a good outcome of to this evening. in my book anyway. So yeah.
Can I just say quickly that it also came out the idea that a support group for the husbands as well, because
yes,
if somebody who's related to you and who you're in it with is going through some deep stuff, it's impacting you and you're carrying the weight a lot of the time. Too much for an individual to deal with. They need it. So luckily I found, Uncle David from High Noon. He really helped a lot, became kind of like a mentor for me. But I think that's something that we don't talk about. I have a guy in my community his wife is that one that is struggling deeply with depression and suicidal tendencies, and his parents are not able to really help him so much. So it's too much for a person in his shoulder. So both sides need help. Obviously the woman's going through it, but the man is tied to them, so he also has to.
100%, and I can second that as well. And also, even from personal experience as well. Again, don't have time for that this evening, but even we've had 3 kids, and I can also say that it would have been great for me to have been part of some group at some point, but there wasn't so much support at the time. So I think for sure there's definitely something we can bring forward here. So Andrew and Young, is there anything else? Any final thoughts? Anything, or like how people can get in contact with you after this, or anything you say to everybody?
Well, I gave you my email, so I think it's available. And if you want to contact her, it's better that you email me if you want to reach out to her, because I'm just better at email stuff. But yeah, we're very accessible. We don't have all the answers, but we want to be that more than anything. Like when anybody calls me up, hey, can I meet with you? Yes, absolutely. So we're very open to talk about anything. So I guess
fantastic.
That's it.
And we'll send their email with the feedback form after the event, which I think will be sent out tomorrow or something like that. So that's fantastic. Okay, let me just see. So just some final announcements then. Let me see. So our next event is May the 24th, and we have Myrna Lapras coming to speak on creating connection and belonging in your family. Yeah, here we go. That's up on the screen as well. So that's So we're having 2 events this month, because this event is sort of the April event. So we have another MMM event. So we hope to see you all there. Yeah. Okay, let me see if there's some of the other quick announcements. Obviously, I always say that, but there's a lot of resources on the BFD website. You can reach out. Also, you can also reach out to the MMM team, myself and Patrizia. You can reach out to if you want to just speak to somebody generally. Also, with the feedback form, please. We always appreciate a lot of feedback, and also, if you haven't registered fully, make sure you have filled out the registration form completely, so we have all your details, and also add us to your contacts. So you make sure you don't get emails into your spam folder. Okay, great. I think that covers it. I think that was all the announcements. Great. So I think we're going to round off there. So just a reminder that obviously the discussion groups are still open. So if you want to go back into the discussion groups, feel free. Some people might not be able to because of children or other, need to get up early tomorrow. So don't be offended if people don't go back into the groups, but they will remain open now after this, after we end. So to finish off, I want to pass it over one more time to Andrew to say the closing prayer for the event, and then finish off with that.
Sure. Thank you. Please join me in prayer. Oh, yeah. Heavenly Parent, we are all here because we intuitively know that life is not joyful and is not nearly as meaningful and it sure is not powerful alone. We always need to connect and to learn and to share. That's when humanity is at its very best, and our community is a representation of that humanity. And we really want to make sure that we're in tip-top shape, that we're thriving individuals and thriving families. And so I just thank you so much that we have this time, that we live in this amazing era in which we can connect from around the world and share our stories and learn from one another, and to really inherit your love and this Hyojung culture that we're trying to build. So it was lovely to connect with our European brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles. And I really pray that this brought you joy, because we are all seeking after a higher level of love so that we can be more and feel more and experience more and help more during this time when true parents are still here on this earth. We're creating something brand new that the world has never seen. And I'm sure you're excited and we're all excited, because now there's so many answers to questions that history has long had. So I thank you so much for this time with everybody here. I thank you so much for being here with us, Heavenly Parent. I really felt your presence, and I want to offer you this experience, this journey, this program to you on behalf of everybody here. We pray in the love family name, Aju.
Aju. Thanks so much again, guys. Let's give them a big wave. Applause are hard. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on, and really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I just saw Francesca and our team just post something really important on the chat about there is a Facebook group that has been started by somebody called Positive Pregnancy and Serene Motherhood. So please feel free, if that's relevant to you, to go. And so that's already something that's been created. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. We love having you here. We hope this evening helped a lot of you. And we look forward to seeing you on the 24th. And have a lovely month of May. And all the best from the MMM team. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.